What is good, guys? Sacoz back at it with another video, and if you're wondering why in this screen right now it's just a shoe with a green background, we're gonna talk about that later. You should already know if you read the title of the video, of course. But before we start with that, I hope you are having a great day. Welcome back to another tutorial. It's Friday, that means it's tutorial day. Tutorial Friday, yeah, that tutorial Friday. And in the last video, in the Sideman video, we grew a lot. I know we talk about this in every single video. I swear I'm gonna stop. But the Sacoz polars are really getting high. And the same iron, that's the one we did on the asset pack. I used that asset pack and I use it for a lot of stuff, to be honest. He commented on the video, and I don't know how he got to him. But yeah, and now we have 73, I guess, 70 subscribers, which is nice. Road to 100. When we get to 100, I'm a live stream some stuff. Just stay tuned for that. But in today's video, we're gonna be doing a lighting tutorial. Now you can use this lighting for, I don't know, banners, whatever you want. Of course, I don't really recommend focusing on gaming banners. Of course, you can do it for the client, but you making a gaming banner on your own, it just hasn't been a lot of fun for me recently. So I started with UI, cover arts, and advertisements and stuff. So that's something that goes kind of deeper than just, put in, the typical screenshot with the same Fortnite font, adding the same layer style and stuff. I just don't really like that. So now I'm moving into this stuff. So yeah. We're gonna do a lighting, so you can use it for advertisement. In this case, I'm gonna use it for an advertisement. Now you can use this with, I don't know, with G Fuel stuff if you're that cringy, or with shoes, or with, I don't know, mostly whatever you want. But yeah, we're gonna be doing lighting. So before we start, remember you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at SacozYT. And yeah, just join the Discord server. It's filled with awesome people. I'm super glad that the Discord server is kind of growing, and you won't even need to hit the notification bell because it will ping you every time I upload a new video on my Discord server. So let's get right into it. Alright, so I picked this shoe, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna add all of these layers. First, we're gonna add a light source, then we're gonna add shadows, then a light source there, then we're gonna do this little overlay thing, then we're gonna do that, then this, then that, then this, and then that. So that's what we're gonna do in today's video. We're gonna be doing the lighting tutorial. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put all of this group, and we're just gonna copy this and then add it here. Now, just because it's in this background, it doesn't mean it doesn't work in this. Of course, you would do it on your advertisement or whenever you're doing it. I'm just putting it here to show you as an example, and of course, it should match with the theme. So, for example, if I just put, I don't know, like something red, like it just doesn't match at all. So if there were like red headphones, for example, you would use, red stuff. Mostly, right? Because that matches the color scheme. So that's what I like to do. And now I missed that color, didn't I? And there we go. We get that color back. But the color I'm gonna be using is 889548. And these are some Nike shoes I found online. Don't really have any importance. So how I always like to start my lighting is by adding a light source. Nice. By adding a light source, you basically define where you want it to be. The light source can come from literally anywhere, but I always like to put it behind the product. Of course, it's always good to have a PNG one. If you can't find something PNG, which in Google you can mostly find something PNG, just cut it out yourself and make it PNG yourself, because it will really help. Once you're done, once you define your light source, of course, you should know basic lighting and basic photography stuff, right? So if there's lighting coming from one side, the logical thing is that there's shadows from the other side. So we're gonna add a new layer. We're gonna clip it. It's really important you will clip a lot of layers to that object. So what you want to do is switch between X and D. Now most of the stuff that you want to know for this tutorial is the commands D and X. So if you have, for example, I don't know, red, right, and you have red over there, right, if you press D, it will go back to the default colors and it will always go black. And then if you switch X, it will switch the colors. So with a black brush, of course, most of the stuff is going to be 0 hardness. We're going to just go down the shoe. Why? Because the light source is affecting the back of the shoe, aka the top of the shoe. And now that we do this, we're going to just put the lighting down, and it's already looking a lot better than what it used to. Why? Because we did do some stuff. Now remember, every single product, every single photo has its own lighting on it. Even if it's bad, even if it doesn't look pleasing to the eye for an advertisement, they all have you know, lighting on it. Even if it's a light, or even if this the sun coming through, or just a light of the product itself, everything has light on it. So once you're done with that, I always like to, you know, to like make real that there's lighting with a white brush. I just go over it like that, so like you can tell that there is lighting behind it and that it is focusing. Now something I really like to do when it's a shoe, when it has this kind of stuff, I just like to add a new layer, make it way more smaller, like 100, yeah, and then add this, and then just go over it like that. Sometimes you don't really need to put an opacity, but at this time you obviously do. So once you are done with that, this is mostly the lighting part. Now the rest of the things, right, are just effects, and you may learn how to do this way better times, and you may learn how to do this in more effective ways. I'm just telling you the introduction for it. Now if you introduce yourself to this, you can go back and then, you know, like do way harder things, and then there are multiple light sources with multiple shadows, and then the shadows where the lights is right down below, not obviously below. You know, you can put many stuff that you want. And in my lighting, and something else for the effects, right, in my Sideman advertisement, I did add a lot of purple highlights because that's what I was going with, of JJ's hair that had like purple stuff on it. So I wanted to do some purple color grading, right? So what I did is, in the parts of color, I can clip this. I'm going to clip the brush, and instead of just putting it white or black, I'm going to try to get a cool green. Not that much green, but like that. And then just brush over it. And then of course put the opacity down. Now, that looks actually nasty. So with the eraser, with zero hardness, we're just gonna go over it. It doesn't really have any rocket science, to be honest. It's just to the eye and what it's going on. As I like to do, I'm just gonna talk. You shouldn't stick with gaming banners and gaming profile pictures or anything like that. You should start doing this kind of stuff: advertisement, cover arts, posters, stuff that actually will, you know, benefit you. There's nothing wrong with doing client work banners, because there are millions of people that need a banner right now. And if you want to gain some money, then that's okay. But if you're doing, you know, for your portfolio, if you're only doing, you know, gaming banners and stuff, I don't really see the point of that. So next, the mercurial thing, I think that's what it says. I'm gonna do the same I did with the Nike thing, with the same color. I'm gonna go over it like that. Put the opacity at the same down, 42. All of this is created in a new layer because it's really, really important to keep that. And then I'm gonna do the same with the eraser. I'm just gonna go over the parts that don't need it. Right over there. Now that doesn't look that good. Like that. I think I'm gonna delete that, and I'm just gonna keep it with the Nike one. I think that's what I did. Yeah. And I'll put the opacity way down for this one. Now that we're Gucci with that, you have that Nike thing that really represents that. Now in the advertisement, air quotes, that you're gonna be doing, right, or the poster or whatever you're doing, you should be able to identify the color scheme, right? So if you want this green shoe that has some green stuff on it, the logical thing is to make a green-based advertisement. So probably out of mountains or something that's green, right? So you can match that lighting with the lighting of the shoe. That will really, really help. So yeah, next, I always like to add a black overlay, like everything. So I'm just gonna make a big, huge brush, and I'm mostly in everything. Not in everything for sure, but like mostly everything, but when you added this one, right? Try to do it mostly everywhere, but when you added that light, and then just put the light down, and yeah, pretty lit. Alright, so if you guys don't know this, I'm hoping that you know this. If you take an actual photo with a flash, right, and if going through a product, it's not normal for it just to stop when the product is. It is normal that the product, for example, let's say you're taking a photo of an iPhone, right? When you take a photo of the flash, it's normal for the flash to go over the iPhone, right? Or to go down the iPhone. So what I do for that, I always try to add like a light, without clipping it, of course, DX, and then just add a little light on top. And this would be part of the light source we did. So like that. Let me just do this again. So like that. So that will be part of the light source that is just going through the product. So yeah. Now, other thing, I didn't do this in the original one, but I did do something similar. Now, I learned from Flern. It's a great channel. You should check it out. How to do this little light source thing. And yeah, okay, so you do this with the lasso tool. I think this is how it's called, right? Yeah, the lasso tool. And then once you have that selected, you go here and then you put curves, and this will basically do a layer mask of the curves. So if you do this, it will only apply in the thing you selected, in the selection you selected. So when you go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and blur the, like, a lot of it, you have that, like, this light source that is really cool, and I did use this for many of my advertisements. So pro tip in that. Now what's next would be some color corrections on the shoes. I don't really like to call them color corrections because they're not. There's no really color to correct in this one. So let's put the brightness of the shoe down and the contrast up. And then pro tip, you need to have balance, right? So if you're doing brightness down, contrast up, you may want to do curves up, because the brightness of this is down. So if you put this up, and if you don't put everything down, so let's say you put this down, and then you put you know, the luminance down, like you need to have balance. So if you put the curves up, and you put the saturation, which is the contrast, I put the contrast up in that one, let's put the saturation down in this one, and then the lightness like that. That looks way more balanced than what we did. So I'm gonna just delete the hue saturation layer. That looks way more balanced than what we did before, because it looked like you couldn't see anything. But if you see balance, then there's how to go. If you put totally red hues, right, and then you put a red color balance on it, it's just not gonna look good. But if you put brightness contrast, right, you put brightness down, contrast up, it may be a good idea to put curves up and saturation down or something, if that does look good. In this case, it does not look good, but it's just an example of what you could do. Now, I think I did add, let me check, I did add a color balance for sure. That's a color balance. So I'm gonna add a color balance. Not too strong, like that much green and that much blue, to make this little green highlight better. And you can take this off if you don't like it. I'm just gonna put the opacity down in here. So it's just like a green highlight. And then this looks good when, like, I don't know, like neon lights or Apple, where the flash is, where the camera is. You can do this, you can just put it in perspective if you don't want. So yeah, that's something cool. And with this, you have ended your lighting. Of course, you wouldn't do this, right, in a just green background. You would do this, you know, in a poster, like in a square, right, and then mountains or whatever your idea is. I just really like this advertisement, and I really like to add lighting to objects. So if you just want to practice lighting, get as many products as you want. So like, try doing I don't know, a blue snowball. Try doing a headset. Try doing a keyboard. Try doing a shoe. Try doing a G Fuel, you know, stuff, right? Try doing those, and you do lighting with all of those. So like with this, if you're doing something red, go ahead and add red, like there, and do the exact same thing, but with a red product or with a blue product or like whatever. Just master this little tricks, so like you can easily do them in whichever product, in whichever canvas you need it for. Alright guys, that has been all, and you've realized that I haven't done a tutorial like this. Oh, and not like this, like a GFX, like a social media design, right? From the Apex Legends one, and that's the reason why. I just don't feel like teaching you guys how to make a banner is something special, but I feel teaching you a website is more valuable, or lighting for an advert is more valuable for sure. So yeah, just letting you know that the next banner tutorial or anything like that would be when a hot game drops out and everyone's playing it, and I just want to help some people, right, by telling them how to make a banner off it. But yeah, that has been all. If you guys have enjoyed this video, like it, subscribe to become a Sacoz Poddler, and it's been Sacoz here, and I'm out. Peace.